Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, as part of the Temple Watch, I lived in the temple for almost 2 weeks recently, and participating in Temple Watch gives a person an opportunity to just take time to enjoy the absolute beauty of this place, the surroundings, the temple, the quiet. It's wonderful. We are so fortunate to have this wonderful facility. And being here also inspired me to in the subject of the Dharma talk today. So my subject today is taking care. And what do I mean by taking care? We speak about Dharma with a capital D, and that represents the teaching of the Buddha. And we also have the word dharmas with a small d, that means all phenomenon, everything, all phenomena, everything that exists. So my computer is a dharma, your body is a dharma, my walking stick is a dharma, the vacuum cleaner is a dharma. As a mindfulness practice, we Zen students take care of the dharmas. It is also a labor of love, taking care. Taking care is a labor of love. So speaking of vacuum cleaners, when one lives in the temple, one notices many things that might escape notice when you just come for, sittings during the day or in the evening or on Sunday. And I noticed while I was here that the canister vacuum cleaner was full of dirt. Like 3/4 of the canister was full of dirt. So why is that important? It's important because it means that the last person who used that vacuum cleaner did not complete their task. The job was to clean the rug, but the job also included taking care of the tools that we use to clean the rug, which means the vacuum cleaner canister needed to be emptied in order to complete the task, so that it's ready for use the next time the rug needs cleaning. It's small things like this, the really dinky details, that not emptying the vacuum cleaner, not taking out the compost, not replacing the light bulb on the porch when it burns out, not picking up that piece of trash on the sidewalk, etc. All these small acts of carelessness in our lives add up, and soon a kind of decay sets in. Dharmas begin to look uncared for, and it becomes easier to be careless, to walk away from a task that asks to be done. It is these small things that one notices when one lives in the temple. Because in Zen, our practice is to leave our surroundings in the same condition as we found them, or better. That's why when we're done sitting, we make our cushions round again, we get the dirt off of the mat, and we take care of our sitting place. carelessness in the temple, it's probably a symptom of carelessness in daily life as well. I may notice a task that asks to be done. Perhaps the laundry needs folding, but I'm just too busy or too tired to do it, so I leave it for someone else to do. Or I use the last sheets on the roll of toilet paper, and I can't be bothered to put a new roll on the holder. How many times does that happen in one day? Another example of carelessness is not finishing a project that one has begun. I suppose you could call it a lack of intention as well. For example, a long time ago, I crocheted a lot. And my ultimate project was a rug that I saw the pattern for, and it looked so beautiful. And all you had to do was just crochet 48 rectangles, one at a time, then sew them all together, and you had this handsome rug suddenly appeared in your life. Well, you can guess what happened. Dennis is nodding his head. He crochets, so he knows what this kind of a project is like. I carried that project from house to house with me for 20 years. That's some major procrastination. By the time I finally finished it, the colors weren't even fashionable anymore. But it made a great floor in our camping tent. I'm sure you all have examples like this. What is it within us that says, oh, I'll do that tomorrow? As Brian Baker said on Wednesday evening during our book study, there is no tomorrow. There's only this moment. We can think about the past, we can remember the past now, and we can think about what may happen in the next minute now, but it's always now. So there is no tomorrow. How much could we accomplish if we finished every task once we started it? So easy to abandon a project and so hard to screw our intention to the sticking point to finish it. A bigger example of taking care is the workday that was held yesterday for the care of the temple grounds. Now, you've all been out there. Well, maybe not all of you. Some of you have not been out there. So I want you to go to the windows and look out and see what has happened out there. Look at the garden toward the lake. And Steve, well, we're connected to the microphone. We'll show you guys afterwards what it looks like out there, especially Eric, since he worked on it so hard. The grounds had become incredibly overgrown, and a major effort has been put forth to correct that oversight. So 7 people worked for about 3 hours yesterday and accomplished a lot around the temple. The rest of the bushes were cut down, the pond was cleaned up, Amir refinished the temple bell stand and the sign of the heart moon, the temple of the heart moon sign. We really got a lot done in such a short time. And before this workday, Eric and Anthony by themselves also put in hours of work on this project. Slowly but surely, our view of the lake reappeared, and one can actually walk the path of the ancestors again without being attacked by blackberry vines. So when you leave today, please, if you haven't seen the pond, please go around the back and look at the pond area, which was also cleared out yesterday under Edo Roshi's supervision, and she did a lot of that work. It feels so much more spacious, and we, as a Sangha, care for these beautiful grounds that are such a gift to us. So there's an opportunity for everyone to demonstrate this care for the temple, because we've scheduled a work day on the first Saturday of every month, so you can come and help us take care of the temple. So when we take care, we have this feeling of accomplishment. We see the results of our intentions and our hard work. Not every example of taking care is so dramatically apparent. And sometimes when we do the task that asks to be done, another task appears that requires immediate attention. For example, as Bob and I were cleaning up in the kitchen one morning this past week, we discovered mouse poo in the oryoki drawer, which led to mouse poo on the towels in the next drawer, which led to a nest in the back when we pulled all the towels out, which led to emptying all the drawers and taking them out to be sanitized, which led to repairing a broken drawer track, which led to cleaning out the tool bag to find a hammer, which led to washing all the silverware, which led to washing all the towels, which led to, well, you get the idea. We up at some point and finish the task the next day. Actually, I spent the work day yesterday inside continuing to clean the cupboards and wash kitchen items. Sometimes taking care can blow up into a monster project, but we persist until the task is done. The temple lodge itself is a good example of taking care. As long as no one is living in the temple, the Sangha must step forward to protect the sacred objects and the altars on the grounds. The temple cannot be left empty overnight. So Sangha members volunteer to stay at the temple, to gather the meal, to answer the phones, to fill the pond and water the flowers, to walk the grounds to spot anything that is out of place, and to make the temple rounds before bed to make sure that the temple is secure. And we will persist until someone is found to live in the temple. Beyond the everyday care of the temple, of ourselves, of our loved ones, and our homes, there's taking care of our lives in the Dharma. Following Buddha's way takes great effort, especially in a careless culture. This US culture as a whole has lost the art of taking care. There is discarded trash on the streets and on the roadsides. There's been a half a gallon of milk sitting by the stop sign on South Bay Road for 5 days now. And I keep thinking, I have to bring a trash bag. Okay. There are discarded people on the streets and on the roadsides. There are public buildings and homes in disrepair. I'm sure you can think of many more examples. As people who practice virtue, it is up to us to set an example by taking care of those dharmas. Once upon a time, a Sangha member told a story about how angry he had become because people were throwing trash on the ground in his favorite park. Finally, he realized that it was up to him to do something about it. So he began to pick up the trash in the park every day when he went for his walk. And he found that his knees, which had been bothering him a lot, became much more flexible as a result of his bending down to pick up trash. Win-win. Taking care can have unimagined benefits, both for ourselves and others. In Japan, this kind of taking care has a special name, Japanese mind. This includes many kinds of taking care, of guests, of family, of the home, of work, of the dharmas. Taking care in Japan is a way of life. In fact, all the Zen arts, ikebana, flower arranging, calligraphy, tea ceremony, poetry, incense appreciation, and so forth, arise from the mind of taking care. There's a focus that is required to practice these arts, and it carries over into everyday life. There's another kind of taking care that I didn't include in my talk this morning, but do a little side note here. And this is taking care of our practice. Had a little conversation with someone about taking care of the forms. And we take care of the forms in order to focus our attention. Edo Roshi says that you can actually achieve enlightenment by following the forms. The forms are a gateway to enlightenment. If you aren't able to attain it on the cushion, perhaps if your focus is intense enough when you practice the forms, you may have a moment of awakening. So, not that you need an impetus to take care of this. It's that you take care of the forms just as a part of your daily practice. It's a part of your taking care in your life. If you have the mind of taking care, you take care of everything, including the forms of practice. It's also important to take care of your spiritual life by making sure that you are on the right track in your spiritual life. This is a little more difficult than just paying attention to forms. It's something that we work with in Zazen, in Dokusan, in our relationships in the Sangha. It's really important to focus our attention on taking care of our spiritual life, which means taking care of our whole life. So, along with the Japanese, we can use them as an example to make taking care our way of life. In fact, our practice requires it. The next time you are tempted to abandon a project in midstream, when you think you are just too tired or too distracted to carry on, when you think you don't have time to care, stop and reconsider. Screw your intention to the sticking place and persist. I humbly encourage you to do this. Bill.
I was bowing to the whole of your words.
Okay, we have a few minutes, so if you have some comments or questions.
Just a short one. Would you say that taking care is zazen off the cushion?
That's a good way of putting it, yes. because it requires the same kind of focus. So if you have focused your mind in zazen, if you're paying attention, someone told me one time that their practice is to try to maintain the focus of zazen in everything they do. That's a tall order, but it can be done.
So the thing that came to mind for me as far as taking care, and that is, exercise and diet, I've discovered really help enhance the practice for me, being able to sit. Plus, especially as you get older, diet and exercise, and I would say, when I say exercise, I mean like weight bearing exercises, has been hugely beneficial to my spiritual growth, only because it allows me to do the things that, go out and work on the grounds, and even though I do feel it, I'm able to do things that I probably otherwise wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't taking care of the body in that way. So I think that's really important.
That is a good point, yes. Taking care includes this too.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, me. I didn't really have any comments.
Okay.
Thinking about the 200 things I need to do when I get home.
This fostered a to-do list for you?
And an old knitting project I've been neglecting.
Very good. Yes, Dennis, did you have something?
Yeah, I think there are two things that in taking care of practice, specifically taking care of precepts.
Yes.
That's something that of all the practices off the cushion, I think that's the one that requires the most diligent care. And then the other thought that came to mind was taking care as being a caregiver. I spent many years as caregiver for my parents, and that was my main spiritual practice, was giving care, taking care of parents. And even now, I take care of my cat. I think it's important to really give care,
Yes.
especially to other people, other sentient beings.
Yes. And this is what we do in the Sangha, is we take care of each other. That's part of what we do for each other in this community, is we take care of each other. So that's a focus of our practice as well. Yeah.
It makes me think of taking care of the planet and of all the things that I have in my life that I have not yet given up in order to do so, and of the sacrifice it requires and demands. That's what I thought of.
Yeah, taking care of the planet, yes. And how that requires a bit of renunciation. Yeah. Zoomers, any comments or questions from you? No, okay. All right then. Thank you very much.